Usually I'm quite serious in coming on to things like this. My posts have ranged from various subjects. Some deal with politics, some will deal with the church, some deals with end times, some deals with just various subjects. This one is going to be a little lighthearted just because it's interesting of the dynamic of it. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and you don't have to answer me. You don't have to post it or put it down. It's up to you. Maybe you can ask yourself or maybe ask someone else this. How many of you either have seen or will see the new movie Melania? Yes, there is a movie out that is about our first lady. Not the first lady of our church, but the first lady of the United States. And it was a project that was put forth that documented 20 days before, or 20 days and going in towards the inauguration of Donald Trump as our president. And I said, well, what kind of puts me in a position to talk about Melania Trump? And it's mainly that, essentially, depending upon your political persuasion, you may run to see it, or you may run to get away from it. It doesn't seem as if there is a, well, maybe I might, maybe I will. Either you want to see it, or you said, I am not going to see this movie. Now, it's interesting because essentially there's another movie out called David. And yeah, as you can imagine, David is about the David in the Bible. And it's actually not doing so badly. It's not a mega hit, no. But I think it's made about $70 million, maybe more than that. So for a reputedly Christian movie, it's actually making quite a bit. And I would think that some of it is not just because it's Christian seen, although probably most who call themselves Christians are seeing this movie. But there are also some intrigue in it. They know the story, but it's one thing to know the story, but it's another thing to see how the story plays out in front of your eyes, so you don't have to try to imagine it. And the reason why I am talking about this particular movie, David, is because I'm thinking about the response that the movie Melania is going to get. There are people who say, I'm going to see this movie. I want to see what's happening with the First Lady. I want to see how she's taking this. And all this is well and good. I'm not saying either see it or don't see it. That's up to you. I don't think it's going to be a rated R movie, so you're not going to really have any qualms about seeing things that's inappropriate. I don't think that's the way. But if you have a political persuasion, you're going to be much more liable to see Melania if you have voted for our president than those who didn't vote for our president, or for those who have been affected by his policies. I believe this is going to be a very politically charged movie. There will be those, and again, it's all about perception. Because first you have to get people in to see the movie before you can really comment about it. I've heard some of the reviews of Melania. I'm not going to tell them here. I want you to make your own choice. But again, the idea is based upon the name. There are some that will see it just because the name, Melania. That's our first lady. Let's go ahead and check it out. Let's see what it's all about. Let's see how she prepares herself for this second turn as first lady. And that's okay. No flack about that whatsoever. Again, depending upon your political persuasion. Someone else saying, are you kidding? I'm not going to see this movie. Doesn't make any sense to say have this movie. And it's really supposed to be sort of, she won't call it a documentary, but many people are calling it a documentary. Again, 20 days in the life of Melania Trump as she wraps up from being a civilian to being first lady of our country. It also may depend upon how you feel about Christ. And I would really be willing to believe that it's split. Those that feel as though, again, and many times it'll fall upon the lines of who you voted for, but also how you believe in God. For instance, if you feel that God sent Donald Trump to be our president, then most likely you will go and see Melania. And many of those people have been in theaters where it's been sold out tickets, just sold out. On the other side, there have been places whereas, at least on opening night, and I've heard in one area that it was for 3 showings, 2 tickets were sold. Not 2 tickets for each showing, 2 tickets, period, that night. Which should show you something about how they felt about this movie. Without even seeing it. Without even seeing it. Which kind of leads me to a bigger subject regarding seeing movies. And in many cases, the movies we see are based upon preconceived notions of what we think the movie is going to be about. Like, for instance, people who like action movies will probably see a movie that purports to give you a lot of action. For instance, the Marvel movies, the DC Comics movies, any movie regarding a superhero or something. Doesn't say they'll always be successful. There have been some pretty big flops. But considering the type of characters they have, then you would want to see, if you are predisposed to seeing action and battles and so on, you'll go and see that. For those who like romance movies, touching movies, movies that deals with relationships and are they succeeding, are they failing? Those type of movies you will try to go out to. It's not really often that a person who likes that type of movie will then go see an action picture unless their spouse loves action pictures. Then you go just to appease them. But essentially, the idea here is that what you see depends upon what's already in your mind. And as far as I can tell, I don't really know if this is split along church lines or not. To see Melania, I think it's more political than anything else. But again, in this country, we have put in this position we've been split according to party lines. Certain types of Christians love Trump. Certain types of Christians don't like Trump. But based upon that split, those that love Trump, who are Christians, will see Melania. And those who don't like Trump will probably not see, will probably avoid it like the plague. And they will be happy if they see anything regarding negative press. It's essentially, it doesn't sell, or it doesn't, or the amount of people buying tickets are very low. They'll like that. Now, understandably, it's going to take some time to see what the fallout's going to be. But I also wonder this too, that let's say, once different programs start rolling out of the government's office, will they see if a person has proof that they went to see a Melania movie, will they then be rewarded by the administration? And conversely, if a person did not see Melania, will they be punished by the administration? And that may sound far-fetched. It may, and that may not be nothing to it. Maybe nothing to it at all. But people tie different things together in strange ways at times. So you can't take anything for granted. That whether you're seeing or viewing the movie is going to be a litmus test on whether you like the policies or like this particular person to be the president. And I've been reading some reviews. Again, I'm not going to say the reviews. You can read them for yourself. But it was just strange that I'm not sure there's been any other time in our country's history that the First Lady either made or commissioned or was featured in a movie that was to be shown in theaters. It may have been a documentary on TV. Happens all the time. From Eleanor Roosevelt, maybe not necessarily on TV, but perhaps on the radio. Jackie Onassis, Lady Bird Johnson, Pat Nixon, Betty Ford, Rosalind Carter, Barbara Bush, of course, Hillary Clinton. I hate to say I forgot the name of the other. Oh, I think it was Rosalind Bush, Michelle Obama, and of course, Melania Trump. I almost forgot the name of the first lady of the previous administration. Not that we're supposed to know these first ladies. It's just it's something that's there. But you go through all of them. And there may have been commentaries about, or observances or documentaries that are on TV, but never in a movie theater. Never was that done. Now, I would say this. From stories I've heard, she was paid $28 million up front to be the subject of this movie. $28 million. Now, we may pay that to Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise or to another of a number of of box office drawing, box office drawing, actors or actresses. But Melania Trump is not an actress. She was a model. So to some people, she's very pleasant to the eye, if you have that preference. But I was just thinking of, wonder how people felt about having a movie about the First Lady and about her experiences. Not throughout the entire first term, not what her observations will be or are for what will happen during the next term, this term, but just about 20 days in getting ready for the inauguration and her stepping back into the role of First Lady. It's just interesting. And again, you don't have to tell me what you're thinking of the movie, or will you see it, will you not see it. It'd be nice to know, but you don't have to comment on that. But just take a mental thought as to why are you going to see the movie, number one, or number two, why are you not going to see the movie? It may be just as much as, I really don't care about the life of a First Lady. Or someone may say, I really want to know what was in her mind as she prepared for being First Lady again. And as I said before, this is the one time whereas, depending upon what you believe or how you worship Christ, may determine whether you see the movie or not. If you're evangelical, if you believe that God had sent Trump, you'll see this movie. More than likely, you will see this movie. And tell your friends about it too, no matter what the content is. You will see this movie. On the other hand, those who are against or who doesn't practice what is taught in the evangelical movement, or if you're a particular subset of that movement, for instance, Black or Latino, most likely, because you really don't push Trump, you won't even think about this movie. And if someone asks you to see it, you'll find somewhere to say, no, I am not seeing this movie whatsoever. But again, this is kind of lighthearted. Not something that's real serious. It's not going to help your faith or you're going to lose faith because of it. It's not something that's going to, well, the Lord, I've come to judgment. And the Lord said, did you see Melania? I don't think that's going to happen. Whether you see it or not, it's like whether you're going to see Jurassic Park or not. Whether you're going to see what other movies out there. I mean, you'll see that movie or not. And some actually may have more importance in terms of if you really, because there are some movies that really just are not recommended for saints to see. But I'll talk about those a lot later. Some are just not recommended at all. Not trying to get into your private business, but there are some movies that essentially you could say, as a saint of God, I kind of feel uncomfortable in this movie or watching this movie. But in terms of Melania, it doesn't seem to be anything for or against. It's a documentary. Maybe it goes to flatter our president, and I hear that he does narrative on some of those things as one that has input, since he's the husband of our First Lady, Melania Trump. But the key here is essentially very, very simple. Do you want to see it or don't you? The choice is yours. God bless you.